Hey, everyone. This is the Unstoppable Blueprint podcast. I have my good friend Annie Chou from Arc & Co with me today. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things to, well, help you become unstoppable in your business and talking about leadership, talking about branding and your personal brand. Without giving it all away, I want to introduce Annie. And Annie, tell us about what you do to give a bit of context for today's podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, James.
You're
What a
welcome.
pleasure to be on your show.
Likewise, my friend.
Yeah, I met James. Well, both of us are entrepreneurs for many years. Both of us have really solid life experience working with other leaders or people that would like to be leaders, and we help people grow, right? So we share that similarity. So my work primarily focusing on helping people promote their brands. So as you know, 2023, there are billion brands out there, billion brands selling products. So how can we help brands amplify themselves, right? How can we help business owners figuring out their own voice and their own brand's voice? And then, you know, taking that and then distill it into some kind of marketing messaging or brand messaging, and then help them create what we call a customer journey. Customer journey is what is very, very important when it comes to create a very memorable experience. So the brand, you know, it's memorable to their target audiences. And that itself is it's almost like a scientific formula. So we help people understand first that this exists, because a lot of people didn't think that brand is relatively, a very important element to be a part of the business success. Right. So we primarily work with VP of sales, VP of marketing, and brand managers to really, support them and then help them grow. So in that sense, I share that similarity with the Unstoppable Blueprint.
Very cool.
Share that with James.
And it's interesting because a lot of people, they start doing or start a business or start leading a business, think, oh, we just got to talk about our business. We just got to talk about what we do or even how we help people. Well, yes, but it needs a lot more than that, especially if you want to stand out and have people instantly see why you're different and choose you over anyone else, or whether the competition or something totally different. I think it's very important. And I've learned that, and a lot of people learn that the hard way as well, Annie. I find it's important. That's why people, I mean, Apple is just a software company. It's just a phone company. Nike is just, they make shoes. That's all they do. Big deal.
Right.
Yet people line up for days. And it blows my mind, days in advance.
You brought a really, really, really important point, is that they understand, number one, who they're targeting, right? Who they're actually speaking to. They figure out they have an audience. So, you know, when brands come to us and said, oh, we want to target everybody, I usually just tell them, that's very broad. And unless you have $10 billion marketing budget and advertising budget, you really need to narrow down the market. And because then you know where to focus on, right? So that itself is, it takes a long time. It's a journey itself to understand that part.
This is true.
And helping these leaders learn, right? That, oh, wow, I need to really narrow down to who I'm talking to, then figure out a strategy of how to speak to them, right?
Right on. How do you help people? Because often people say, you know, I don't even know who I want to market to. This is what I do. I'm a plumber. I'm making this up. I'm a plumber. I'm a whatever. I'm a software developer. I'm a, coach of some sort or whatever it is. And they're like, well, I like doing this. I like doing the plumbing or the electrician or the coaching or the business consulting, but I don't really know who I want to work with. I like working with everyone. And to your point, unless you want to go broke and be very ineffective with your marketing language and your pitch, you need to find a niche and a specific person you help, or specific business you help, and with their pains, with their concerns, their desires.
Yes.
What do you tell people who aren't sure about that? Because there's even big companies who aren't sure who the heck the customers are or who they want to market to.
Yeah, I mean, every business has a pain point, right? And I think that they will first understand, you know, there will be signs that, you know, of these pain points. Number one, maybe they're not making as much money as before. Number two, they're seeing a lot of competition coming out that doing the exact same thing they're doing. Or number three, they're not, they're being called, they're outdated, or they're just simply, losing the game, right? Basically,
Yeah.
overall. They see that from sales, right? Sales is a direct reflection of that.
Good
Or
measurement.
they're seeing that they're not getting the following they want, right? Or they're not, let's say they go to a buyer, let's say, we have a lot of clients that work with, like Whole Foods, for example, like a grocer, and the buyers will be very straight up to them and say, you're neither your products or your brand is strong enough, or I'm being sent like 1,000 other product every single day. What makes you special, right? You're saying that, right? What makes you special? What is your unique selling proposition? And we always tell clients to not talk about their products right away. It's easy to talk about your product. Oh, I do
Correct.
this, I sell this. Oh, like I sell yogurt.
Yeah.
But nobody really wants to know that before they know who you are. Okay, why do you sell yogurt? Right? Why are you into wellness? Okay, then you talk about the story. That itself is a brand, right? You don't talk about yogurt, you don't talk about smoothie. Right? You talk about what drove that ambition to start the company, or what is the brand's mission statement to help people to be, paying attention to like wellness or to care about their health. That's the brand, not the product, right? Because
like
when you have your audience, when you have your product, and you have your sale. Well, most people don't know that.
It's like that saying I heard, people don't buy your what, like your product, or your features. They buy your why. They buy why you do it. Like, oh, grandma used to make this yogurt, or grandma used to make this soup. It was passed down generations. It's all natural. It's got grandma's love in it, and this and that. There's even a really cool soup company in Toronto called Ma's Best Soup, Toronto and GTA.
Yeah.
Ma's Best, and and that's their story. Oh, grandma was doing it, and then the grandson helped her market it and create his big business. Now they have multiple
Absolutely,
locations.
because I think what makes a brand successful. Yeah, sure, the product could be good, but all they need is to pass that bar, to meet the bar. The rest is an emotional connection. You have to be emotionally connected to your audience. And how do you do that? It's through marketing, right? Through branding, through marketing, through multiple different social media channels. So how do you make sure that that messaging is really loud and clear, right? Because like I said, right, there's so many brands out there screaming in our lives every single day. There's social media all over. There's TikTok, there's like IG, there's like a billion channels, right? Everybody is like a news anchor now. So how can we stand out from that loud noise and then tell people that, hey, we really do care, and then this is why we care, right? That's all I do. That's all we do as like a company. But we've been doing that since 2011, and I'm really happy to say that we really managed to support the brands and clients that we promised to support, and then they have, there's a lot of them are still with us after 8 years, 10 years. Yeah, that's something I take pride with, for sure.
I love it. Yes, hell yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Because you're right. They I think one of the most important things out is to answer the question, why do I care? Why would I care? Like, okay, you sell shoes, or you sell a cologne, or you sell software or servers or consulting or whatever. Okay, why do I care? And I think your brand message, from what I'm hearing, is really helping you answer that, and helping you answer why we do it better or cooler or faster, or like Walmart, cheaper, which is not a game I want to play, but again, cheaper or better or faster or more longer term success than anyone else. I think it's answering that question.
But even Walmart, they have a very complex brand appearance too, right?
Yes, it's true.
For example, they deliberately want to, have that quote unquote more affordable look and feel, right? So you go into Walmart, they do like fluorescent light. It's very like blue and white, right? They did it on purpose, right? And then they chose, their brand palette, for example, is very blue, very red, very white. It has like they're reflecting their target audiences, like, life, everyday life. And then they make sure that, oh wow, we can be really part of them. We don't seem like we're an alien from these people. Speak their language, Well, you look at like Dodge, Ram, Chevrolet or Jeep, right? Their ad is, oh, there is a target audience to it versus, let's say, BMW or Porsche, right? They understand who they're targeting, and then they do everything they can to create that little, we call it like the zone, the community, right? The community that these people actually hang out. So then it's no longer just like, hey, here's a car that you drive. No, you're representing a community. You're representing a lifestyle, or representing your vision, or what makes you a better person.
You got it.
Living in this world. Right?
Like that big truck, the big manly, whatever truck, or fit womanly, whatever, depending on what it's designed for, right? And that, you like I said, lifestyle, the emotion, it's an expression of you. It becomes an expression, and that way, if it's the expression of you, people will pay a lot of money for it. They'll overpay for it.
Absolutely.
And an iPhone, in my opinion.
People will pay anything that they believe they're part of.
Tell us more about
this is what the magic is. When like you were saying earlier, how did Apple become so successful? Is they started working on their brand way early, like 80s. They were, Steve Jobs was like the visionary that understood what he need to focus on, right? Instead of, oh, I'm going to develop these products. Products are what we call a touch point, right? A brand has a lot of physical touch points. And, as design team, that we create these experiences using these touch points and engage with their audience, right? Steve Jobs understood this all along. So that's why they created the value. Value is such a big word for every brand, every company. Sure. And I'm, as designers, that we obviously appreciated his visions because, he was the pioneer. Then because of him, because of Apple, a lot of brands started to, pay attention and started to, spend money to invest into, quote unquote brand, or, otherwise, branding is it's a very, it's a vocabulary that only, designers or marketers would know in the past, right? Let's say in the 90s. But now 2023, everybody knows, like, branding, you need to work on your brand, it's like everybody understand what that language means, right?
Thank you for that one. Talk to us now about personal, because again, there's personal brand, there's business brand, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work in a big company. Talk to us a bit about personal brand, because I think that's something important. I mean, any business leader or entrepreneur, talk to us about that and why the heck that's important.
Well, it is very important because we live in a world that, unfortunately, we are not products, but a lot of people have everybody has attention, a very short attention span now. People are not spending enough time to understand others. So especially when it's a business, okay, let's say if you're operating a business and then you're a business owner, it's very important for you to understand who you want to attract, right? That's a personal brand level, right? If you, how can you align yourself with the people you want to attract to? That is a personal brand, right? And everybody, we play a role in our life every single day. The role of a daughter, role of a father, right? And then to our clients, the role of a leader, of a coach, right? Say you are a coach, right? How can we create that image? That's a personal brand, right? How do you do that? Then obviously you create, you also have to create experience of how people are engaging with you, right? It's like what we're doing here. So for example, when my company, start working with you on, helping our clients grow, you have these, leadership coaching class that you offer to our clients that build you as an expert of your industry, right? People need to understand that. And then, and what comes with it, right? Obviously your knowledge in this field, and you have a very kick-ass website that you tell people a lot of these tips of how to become, an unstoppable business owner, right? That is all you did. That, obviously on top of that, you wrote books. Again, that propel yourself as an expert, right? We all need to do that. So obviously that's also why I got really intrigued by you, because you did exactly what I want to do.
Cool. Wrote a book, started a podcast,
you just did everything I wanted to do.
Too funny. I got to put some of my TV interviews up there too. People see the logos and the different, but then they're like, I'm clicking on it and I can't see it, which I guess clearly some people are interested in seeing what I said in my interviews on. So I think it's important. And creating like that social proof, which helps with with your influence, your persuasion, your brand strength. That's what is a social proof. Oh, well, James is an author, or James has been interviewed on TV, or James wrote these articles, or James did this and that, or book, whatever. I think it's interesting and important, like you said, to have that social proof, to create brand strength as well.
Yeah. So there are multiple brands, on multiple different level, right? Ourselves, and then, the role that we're playing. So, I think it comes down to understand, knowing who we are. That's number one, right?
Yes.
Be very clear of who we are and what we're trying to do. What do we bring this world? How can we contribute? Then from that, figure out the purpose. Purpose to me is everything. I'm glad that we're talking here, because I think that we're very fortunate to be understanding our purpose this age.
Sure.
A lot of people probably don't figure out for the rest of their life, but
Sure.
right now I think we are two people that understood why we are in this world, that we're part of a bigger mission to help people grow, right? People, brands, and then they also understand that, and they in terms help others grow. That's how the world will become a better place. This is why I'm here. Right
on. Well, correct.
You're
To tell me my
I
purpose,
love
like you
that
said.
you're like,
Yep.
like, I completely agree.
Right on. My purpose is to help others. Exactly. Help others, help business owners. Speaking of business owners and business leaders. So speaking of those, what have you seen over the years that the most successful business leaders, business owners have done? What's really propelled, because you've worked with a lot of people, what's been some factors that have really propelled them to success? What have you observed in them? Is it personalities? Is it traits? Is it doing something, or is it refraining from doing something that's really seemed to make people successful?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's a super good question. Well, they're highly organized, first of all. They have a big vision. So I think literally in the 3 seconds you asked me, I could figure out three personal traits. Is number one, they're very bold, risk taker,
risk
right?
decisive.
Understand it. They're like, okay, I have a vision. I know what I want to be, and then here's how I'm gonna do it, right? And then obviously being able to take the action is one, because sometimes you can think about something, an idea for like 10 years, you don't do
Most
anything
people do.
yeah, and then you just like let it hang there, and life just goes away. We live once, right? So
Correct.
That's number, obviously the first few steps to become a very successful entrepreneur is that you got to start doing it. You have to make a commitment of this, right? But that goes with like, even with like personal fitness goal, right? Sure. Or like a New Year's resolution. It's like, okay, what am I gonna do this year? How am I gonna make it happen, right? So being able to organize and plan, and follow through, right? That's super important personal traits that it's like a must have.
I agree. I think it's even, I think it was Warren Buffett or someone said that, yeah, the top traits of the most successful people in the world are they're decisive, and they take risk, and they take action, like you're saying, Annie. So it's
the three things. It's even not just entrepreneur. Every leader high up in executive levels in every company, that you have to be able to do that in order to lead people. Can you imagine a leader that is indecisive? So what are other people gonna do, to sit there and wait for you?
But they'll be indecisive too. They'll learn that from the leader. We learn
nothing's
from our
gonna
leaders.
get done. That's the problem. If and then nothing is going through. It won't move. Like if you're operating a machine, right? You gotta make sure all the gears are working. So then you have to make sure you understand how it functions and how to make it work. So you have to have a vision too, right?
Right on. And then that way everyone can see, because if no one knows where the hell you're going, how are they going to, it's like a car with tires that are misaligned. The tires pointing different directions. And like, if they don't know where you're going, well, I'm going to do this is why. And then someone else is doing that and pulling left, and someone's pulling right. Someone's pulling the car backwards. Someone's pushing it forwards. If they don't know the vision.
Absolutely. So being a leader is so important. It's like, number one, you trust the people you hire. You don't micromanage them, because if you hire the right people, you need to let them do the work.
Yeah.
And the leader themselves have to understand what they're dealing with. Number one, they have to be in tune with themselves all the time. They have to be mentally healthy, physically healthy, in order to be there for people, right? Make the right decision and understand the scope of everything, right? If they don't, then they're not gonna be able to reach their goal, and then they will not be in very good state very soon. So I think that
Right
in a
on.
leader, their mental, mindset has to be basically always there. And that, yeah, that requires a lot of commitment, because how can you alleviate all this stress in life? Stress is, everybody has stress. Now you need to be able to battle that, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't have that, right? So being able to understand that, and it comes down to understand themselves. We don't understand ourselves. we're not clear in
You're
our
not going to
head.
go. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna make a bunch of like bad decisions, therefore, basically go downhill from then. So we shouldn't do that, right?
Right on. Well, there's even that saying that a confused mind won't buy. So
Mhm.
avoid confusing your customers, be clear, and a confused mind doesn't sell. So be clear yourself if you want people to buy from you, whether it's
Always,
you or hiring you or buying your thing, whatever it
always,
is.
always.
Right.
Yeah. So I think our world today, the more noisy it gets, the more
Yes.
calm everybody needs to be. We need to stay as calm as possible to understand, okay, process all the information. Not everything's noise, right? But what is a really important piece of information
Mhm.
that people need to take in, instead of like just like get rid of, right? And
Right.
that is something that at least the medias are now focusing on, right? They're saying like, the media used to be very toxic, but this year a lot, at least I'm seeing that on social media, that people are promoting media as therapy.
Cool.
You know,
That's good.
media cannot throw obviously fake news or
Yeah.
toxic message.
True.
But
True.
now it's a tool really, and it's people who's using it for, and people who's receiving the information. As long as there's that awareness, I do believe that media can indeed become therapeutic.
I agree. I agree. I think it can be really good for people. It can like any, it's a tool. It's like money. I mean, money is not bad. Money is not good. It's a tool, right? Just like social media and media in general, it can help us lift us up. It can make us money, it can tear us down. What would you say, just to tie our conversation now, what would you say maybe the last either tip or two, or because you've worked with companies large and small,
Mhm.
what are a couple of things that you've seen companies do, or if you want to discuss a mistake or two, I'm happy to hear that. Big mistakes that have caused companies to lose lots of money, whether they're big or small companies, and maybe a top thing you've seen companies or organizations, again, big or small, do that really helps them win.
Well, that's a really good question, James. There are companies that come to us, and this is the typical ask. Oh, we need this next week. Can you guys do this for me right now? Oh, we need this is we're really late. Can you guys provide like a band-aid solution?
The
You
answer is
might
no.
as I honestly just tell them, listen, like this is a waste of money. You might as well not do it. Spend another year or spend another 6 months and plan this properly.
Mm,
Last minute band-aid solution is not gonna work. Because you're gonna throw it out after a month or two.
correct. Yeah.
You're gonna spend all these resources already knowing, oh, it's a bad, it's like a band-aid solution. Then why are you doing it? Or you're doing it because, oh, maybe other people are doing it. You're doing it because maybe your boss told you to, or you're doing it because there's peer pressure. But whatever it is, you already know it's bad, and why are you wasting time and money and resources on it, right?
Yeah.
These are what is honestly very common. We get weekly requests. And for someone like me, of course, right, as a business owners, we always, we want to work with everybody, but we have to be able to understand, assess the situation, and knowing that, hey, this is not the situation we want to be getting into, because the project is not going to be successful. Why would you commit to something that not won't make you look good,
And throw money at
right?
something half-ass, exactly, or exactly, having not look good or look bad because it is band-aid or half-ass,
Yeah,
exactly.
and then I don't want the clients to come back to me and say, hey, this solution sucked. You guys are not good. So I would just say, no. To be very honest, it's because it wasn't planned properly to begin with. So we became, at least for the past 5, 6 years, very selective of the type of people and the type of projects that we take on. because yes, at the end of the day, of course, the world isn't perfect, but the person that hires us need to really understand that, okay, like I said earlier, like where they are, where they want to be, and what is, what is wrong right now with their company. How can they fix it? Have proper strategy and proper planning. Do not have band-aid solution. So that is a lot of the problem with big companies. Okay, I think small companies, they don't have a lot of resources. They never do, because they always feel like, wow, I'm running behind on my launch, but then where's my like my funding? How can I fund this, right? So that itself, in my opinion, we always tell people, okay, if your funds are your resources are limited, it's even more important to have a plan, because you have to do things in phases or stages, but at least know that game plan to move forward with, right? So if you don't have the funding, then at least, for example, let's say if you're a company that really cares about, let's say if your brand is about promoting a sustainable lifestyle, and then you suddenly decide that you're going to have a lot of products, or let's say your packaging or marketing collaterals that go against the concept. So for example, use a lot of like one-time use plastic, or because quote unquote you couldn't find a better solution to work with your brand, and you basically just ruin your own brand, right? Because because you didn't have enough time to plan this whole thing, and then people won't believe you, because you just said you're a sustainable lifestyle brand that promotes healthy, a better world, a healthier planet, and then you just did all these things to kind of like hit yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that is something that you can clearly tell the brand wasn't there when they were planning. And as as a small business owner, that's something that we really need to be careful of, especially when their funds are limited. So with big companies, they can make mistakes here and there, and then yeah, sure, they will waste some resources, but it will hurt more, right, for small businesses.
True. It's like that. Thank you for that point, because it makes me think, even what I teach, walk the talk. People will do 10% of what you say, 90% of what you do. And we need to be congruent and authentic. I speak a lot on authentic leadership and authentic influence, because you need to be real. If you're full of it, people are going to tell sooner or later. People will know, like you said, the environmental, whatever company that uses, I don't know, plastic or something, or whatever the thing is, or a company that says we do this, we stand for this, and then they do that, or their branding does this, or their employees do that, or their leaders do this when they say, no, we really mean this. It can kill. Back in the corporate days, I saw a lot of leaders do that. And when customers found out, it would kill customer relationships. When we as team members even found out, we saw leaders say they'll do one thing and they do another, or they said they wouldn't. We will never do this, guys. Don't worry, we'll never do that. And they do it anyways. Instant loss of respect, influence, persuasion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes like a small teams, right? Let's say if the company is small, but small could be very powerful because it's easier to manage. So let's say if you have a small team of like 6 people, right, including the business owner, the people should really know the brand in and inside out. Like they would know and live and breathe that brand, because they're so tightly, together, compared to like a big corporation. So being small isn't a weakness, it's always actually a really good strength. But knowing to have proper strategy is key to success. Is so important for small business. And that's what I say to like all of the entrepreneurs that come to us, right?
Is actually plan and think about it. And even though the plan is the first thing that gets thrown out the window in a war, I agree. It's plan. Again, there's that saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I mean, it's a little.
If they don't know how to do it, they need to hire consultants, proper teams to do it.
Exactly.
Definitely invest around the right thing.
It's true. Commit, take action, decide, commit, invest, which usually is money, time, and energy. Commit, invest. Otherwise, if you're just doing the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum results and likely go to business. So yes, it's scary. I've been there too. Yes, invest, especially during scarce times, scary times, harsh times, invest. That's when you need to invest most. And yes, it's scary as hell, and you need to do it anyways if you want to be successful and if you're committed. And that's what I think, Annie. I don't you. I think that's what separates the 5% of wildly successful people to the 95% of people who are dreamers, wishers, hopers. They really want it, but again, how committed are they? That's my
Yeah,
thoughts.
and then I think that a lot of people underestimate how much work it takes to become
Fair,
what that vision is.
fair,
There's so much work involved and so much resources,
and
and people,
growth.
yeah, to grow, right? And then I think a lot of people underestimate it and they pay a huge price to it.
Agreed.
And so why do that when they can avoid that, right?
Right on.
Enough research is needed for sure. When
Right on.
they when anyone wants to start a project or a company, they need to know what, they need to do the work,
Well,
right?
and like you said earlier too, you need to know who you are, what you stand for. I mean, and do the work, but also do the inner work. And in you and I talked about this a while ago during a conversation we had. It's like almost work on yourself just as much, if
Yeah,
not more, than you work on the business. It's
absolutely.
because they're buying you. They're leading. You're leading them. It's you.
It's actually as important as the business. So when we first started a company
Mhm.
in 2011, we actually sat down and then make sure that we understand ourselves perfectly and knowing what our life vision is, our personal goals, that the business actually could work, right? Because we're the people operating the business.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that it's still aligning. And then we have to check, the alignment every single year, right? And that a lot of business owners, they forget. They became like the slave of the business,
Yeah.
and then they become unhappy. They
Yeah.
become disconnected to their original vision, and that's when things start become unbalanced. It's not healthy. So be an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, it's tough. I don't understand why a lot of I guess it's a marketing message some companies come up with. They say everybody can be an entrepreneur. Everybody can have a business. I guess that's true, but statistically said, a lot, 95% of business actually die within the
Yeah.
first 5 years.
Crazy, crazy.
That's why.
It's a scary number too. It breaks
Yeah,
my
they
heart.
just they don't talk about that. They just, oh, everybody can be a business. Of course, with the resources we have nowadays, but do they understand what it takes and sometimes it's there's a lot of sacrifice entrepreneurs have to do.
Agreed.
They don't know
Agreed.
that.
Being
It's not talked
relentless. Yeah.
about.
Being
Yeah.
relentless and letting nothing stop you. And that's why I'm here. And a lot of people do. It's that there's that, 10 feet from gold story. Most people give up right before they're about to be wildly successful. And they need to give that little more. So
Yeah, being
amazing,
able to
amazing.
understand, like what you teach people how to have that clarity. We work with people like that, who has the clarity now. Okay, now that's plan it. Let's make sure you actually become, who you want to
Yeah.
become. And then that, if they become successful, empower them. Once that empowerment happens, they go and empower others,
Well,
right?
exactly. And that's why I love working with leaders, whether it's a business leader, a business owner, whoever it is that wants to be a leader, because to your point, they can empower tons of people and makes a massive, massive difference as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is why I think this gives that, going back to that purpose. Businesses and people, right? We all have our own purposes, and then how can we all work together, right? No one's purpose is to ruin the world or make the world a worse place.
No, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So then how can we then work together to make it better, right?
It's true. It's true. And
I
that's,
have,
that's,
this journey of being an entrepreneur is definitely one of the most, I would say, the best decision I've ever made for myself, without
agreed.
even knowing it. I look back, I still, I guess I was quite naive to want to do it, but I stuck to what I promised myself to do, and I'm still doing it.
I love it. And same. And it's like, it's the scariest and most amazing thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
You're right. Is just
Yeah.
starting the business. Yeah.
Think, yeah, like getting face that fear of or uncertainties. Most That's something I think a lot of entrepreneurs, or actually 100% of entrepreneurs, have to get to kind of cross. You have to cross that off your list.
True.
Fear of uncertainty is you see that as the pleasure of being free. You don't see that as fear, you see that as opportunities.
Yes. Yeah, it's true.
Always see things in different perspective. Yeah.
Which is
A lot
true.
of
Which is true.
a lot of growth that. So yeah, I mean, I always encourage people, to try entrepreneurship at least once in their life because it helps them understand themselves a lot and fast.
Yep. Yep. And it's,
It's like
well,
you're
you
thrown in the
grow.
water.
There's a saying I love: if you want to grow like never before, become an entrepreneur, because it requires for you to succeed, it requires your growth. And wow, will you ever become a different person? It's been
Yeah,
one of the most
yeah, yeah,
amazing
yeah.
things I've ever done.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Amazing. This has been awesome. I got to have you back on, talk about way more stuff, talk about the mindset and the personal stuff too behind this shifts. But I mean, for now, this has been amazing. How can people reach you if they want to find out about brand and how to work and how to have a powerful brand message and have their brand say, we're awesome. This is why you need to do business with us. How can people reach you, Annie?
Oh, they can find me on LinkedIn, right? I'm Annie, last name Chou on LinkedIn. My company is Arc and Co. It's ARC ampersand CO. The website is arcandco.ca. And you can find us everywhere on social media. We're there helping people grow every single day, every second of our lives. Very proud of it.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, thanks for this. This was a pleasure. As always, love talking with you, my friend. Thanks for helping me do what I love and giving some great information to some leaders out there. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Likewise. We'll chat.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thanks for joining, everyone. Talk
Thank
soon. Be
you.
unstoppable.